Review, a book one was all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's the author of the book Leadership with a Servant's Heart. Your role as a leader in your family, none other than Mr. Kevin Wayne Johnson. Welcome, Mr. Kevin, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I am a native of Richmond, Virginia, and I completed the Richmond Public School System, and then I matriculated to Virginia Commonwealth University right there in Richmond School of Business. And right after that, I relocated to the Washington, D.C. suburban Maryland area to start my federal government career. And I stayed 34 years before I retired. And after retirement, I started my company, the Johnson Leadership Group, where we provide leadership development training and executive coaching across the entire workforce. And I've been married 32 years. And from our union, we have three sons.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Kevin. Thank you,
All
thank you,
right.
thank you. So today let's talk about your book, Leadership. The phrase servant heard or hurt can be or heart, sorry, the servant heart can be understood as a being passive or weak. How do you define this kind of leadership within the four wall of a home?
Yeah. So I believe that our leadership journey begins at home in terms of our interaction with parents, with siblings, extended family, cousins, nephews, aunts, and uncles, in terms of developing interpersonal skills, communication skills, understanding respect, value, honor, and care. Also, demonstrating some empathy and compassion as an extension of unconditional love. And that eventually will transition into the marketplace, into our workplace, in terms of how we lead people. And this book walks all of our leaders and all of our readers through a number of strategies and principles that really help us to understand that the foundation of being a good leader really does begin in the home. And so, in alignment with the subtitle, your role as a leader in your family really helps to unpack some tools and some tips and some nuggets that all of us can take from what we learn at home and ultimately into the marketplace in terms of how we lead people.
Mr. Kevin, many people see leading the family and serving the family as two separate, even conflicting roles. How do you personally integrate these two concepts into a single cohesive identity?
Well, I'm a firm believer in this particular phrase, and hear me out. Wherever you go, there you are. So whether you're at home or whether you're interacting with neighbors or if you're at work or if you happen to belong to a local church or a social or a civic organization, wherever you go, there you are. So there should be some consistency in terms of who you are as a person, let alone as a leader, regardless of the venue that you find yourself in and the audience that you're around. And that's what I always remind us, because we may be a little different in terms of our approach to leadership in the different venues, but we still are the same person. And so when I interact with my sons when they were growing up is not much different than how I interacted with people that I was leading at work or at church or in my various social and civic organizations. It's a matter of the heart. So having concern for people, caring about people, valuing them, listening to them, taking the time to understand them is pretty core to what leadership is all about. And so, again, wherever you go, there you are. So we can be consistent and we can exercise and implement and execute the same principles and strategies that we do at home as we do at work, as we do with our neighbors, and as we do in our local church.
In the culture that often celebrates individual achievement, what was a pivotal moment or journey? What led you to embrace the idea that your primary leadership legacy might be in with your family?
Yeah, because I have great role models. So I think about the men in my family, especially on my paternal side, on my father's side. My dad was the oldest of seven, and he had to leave home when he graduated from high school and enlist in the United States Marine Corps. And I just watched him in terms of his style, his demeanor, how he treated my mother, how he treated my brother and I. I don't have any sisters. And I also was able to watch his brothers, my uncles, in terms of how they carried themselves. And they were all outstanding citizens. They were all great men. They married, they had children, they stayed with their wife, and they were just good role models to watch and emulate. And I tried to do the same with my three sons in terms of how I treat my wife and how I interact with people in society and in the community. And I just firmly believe that having those good role models at home, again, your role as a leader in your family is just one of many ways that we can show the way. Not necessarily what we say, but what we do, because when it's all said and done, people are watching much more closely than listening to what we have to say. And so that was a really good step for me in learning this journey and understanding this journey, so that now I'm a trainer, I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm a facilitator, I'm a speaker, and I'm an author on the topic. And so I'm grateful for that.
Mr. Kevin, let's talk about the practical application and daily life. Can you walk us through a specific practical example of what it looks like to lead with a servant with heart during a high stress family moment like conflict between children or stressful Monday morning?
Yeah, a good example would be anytime that we need to sit down and have a one on one conversation with a child or a group conversation with children, more than one at a time. It's more than just dictating and mandating and threatening, but we can get a lot more done through understanding in the dialogue and the conversation. I love to have a conversation with my sons and helping them to understand, number one, why we're having the conversation, and then number two, the meaning behind the conversation. So I'm not doing all the talking. I'm doing quite a bit of it because I'm leading them down the road as a way of teaching and instructing. But I always take a pause and just ask a basic question. Uh, do, am I making sense? Do you understand what I'm saying? Does it resonate with you? Because I want to make sure they understand the context of the instruction that's being given. And that goes a very long way. And I give them the opportunity as well to have a conversation back with me as their father to help me to understand their current position. And by understanding their current position, how they feel, how they're responding to what I have to say, then I have a better understanding as well, and we're able to get a little bit more done. And I think that's a very basic, foundational, and fundamental practice that all of us can practice at home around understanding each other. It's more than just telling someone what to do or even asking someone what to do, but we take it a step further and making sure that they understand the context behind what I'm telling them to do or what I'm asking them to do. And we can all kind of step away from the conversation with the understanding of what needs to take place and why. And that has proven to be very, very effective over a good number of decades.
Mr. Kevin, servant leadership often involves actively listening to the needs of those you lead. How do you practice intentional listening with your spouse and children to ensure their voices are shaping the direction of the family?
Yeah, three things come to mind. The first thing that comes to mind is making sure that what's been said and what's been communicated, um, that we're all on the same page and that we all not necessarily agree, because we can agree to disagree, but that we're all going in the same direction. Um, and we may take different paths to get there, but we're going in the same direction. So that's number one. Number two is what I call redirecting. Anytime we're having a family meeting or we need to make a very important decision or solve a very, very important problem as a family, oftentimes I would redirect. If anybody in the family is going in the wrong direction, then I would redirect them to go in a different direction. And then, of course, the conversation then aligns with good, effective communication and in helping them to understand why. Why am I redirecting you in terms of the direction you're going? You really should be going the opposite direction. If you're going east, you should be going west, and here's why. And then the third area is reinforcing. Reinforcing is just that. I'm going to reinforce that what you're doing is on par. You're going in the right direction. You're solving this problem correctly. You're looking at all of the different factors that went into how you made that decision. And so I'm going to reinforce in this particular case that you're on the right track, and keep moving forward, and let me know what I can do to help if you need my help. So those are the three things that come to mind for that particular question. And these are strategies and principles that definitely work.
What are some ways consciously work to empower your spouse and children, helping them to grow into their own potential and leadership capacities?
Yeah, just giving people enough room so that they don't feel micromanaged. They don't feel like I'm that helicopter parent that's hovering over their heads. Give them just enough room to kind of move forward on a particular project or a task or an action that they're working on. But at the same time, letting them know that I'm there for them in the event that they do fall and they need a safety net. So I provide the top cover, and I also provide the safety net, and at the same time giving everybody enough room to make their own decisions, be creative, be innovative. But in the event you do fall, I'm your safety net. And so that has worked very well in my household. Now, remember, I don't have daughters. I have all sons. I do believe that I would have tried some different approaches if I had a daughter. But in terms of just working with three boys, and my wife, that has proven to be very, very effective and very efficient over these past few decades.
In what ways has striving to be a servant leader revealed your own flaws and blind spots? And how has these vulnerability ultimately strengthened your family?
Well, a sign of good leadership is indeed the knowledge that we don't know everything. We don't have the answers to everything, and so uh, and we don't see ourselves the way others see us. That's what I mean by blind spots. Blind spots are just that. We There's some things that we do, and there's some things that we say that we're not really cognizant of, and they're blind spots. But other people can see them. So we have to be open and receptive to feedback and other people's input as a way for us to have a higher degree of self awareness, but equally important, to modify our behavior where it needs to be modified. And that's universal as it relates to all of us as leaders, because we all have blind spots, but we do have to be open to receive feedback from others based upon what they see that we can't necessarily see. And that's across the board. That's why leadership assessments, the Leadership 360 assessments, are really, really important, because other people have an opportunity now to assess how we perform as leaders. And good information comes out of those assessments. But we just have to be open, and we have to be receptive to the feedback that comes so that we can make the necessary modifications in our behavior and in our leadership style.
Servant leadership is often quiet and unseen by the outside world. How do you deal with the lack of external recognition and find validation in the private victories of your family life?
Well, when it comes to that term servant leadership, that was introduced into the American marketplace back in 1970. People tend to think of this term of servant leadership as weakness, just like it's not unusual, it's part of human behavior. Many people view kindness as a weakness, and people will often try to take advantage because to them you're demonstrating that you're weak, but that's not the case at all. And as it pertains to my family and as it pertains to the workplace, I'm always reminding people that while it is expected that the leader shows up as someone that really, really knows his or her topic, is a subject matter expert, if you would, that's kind of expected. You don't really get many additional brownie points for that. But the piece that people are really looking for in their leader, and this is why I place so much of an emphasis on the heart. Leadership with a servant's heart has a slightly different angle than servant leadership, although both words are still being used. We put a little bit more emphasis on the heart because that's where the respect and the honor and the care and the value really come from. And that's why we place such an emphasis on the heart. If you take a look at the cover of all three of our books in the book series, there's an emphasis on the heart. It's embedded right there in the graphic on the front cover. And what we want leaders to really think about and start to implement is something that comes from the family, and that is that unconditional love, that concern, and that care for everybody that we're responsible for as a leader. Now, we still hold them accountable, and we still expect everyone to get the job done. and to meet expectations, because we have to sit down at least once a year to go over the performance review. But we get things done through people by way of relationships more so than dictating what needs to be done. And all of the human behavior data, statistics, and studies will show that to be true. And so that's how I came up with the title, Leadership with a Servant's Heart. And where we can align the heart with what's in the mind makes for the best leader. And that's what we teach. That's what we train. That's what we coach. And that's what we mentor leaders to do.
Mr. Kevin, as an author, what are your short term and long term goals?
Short term goals, I just continue to work with customers and clients across government, corporations, churches, nonprofits, and academic institutions. Those five areas represent the marketplace. I continue to work with them and organizations and teams because I firmly believe that better leaders help to make our nation and the world a better place. Long term goal is to reach 1 million leaders through my writing, whether it's an audiobook, an ebook, or print version, through national and international book tour, which is going on right now. I'm in month number 3 for a full year, and to be able to reach deep into organizations and teams and individuals, both aspiring leaders as well as seasoned leaders, to teach them a number of these principles and strategies that will help them to be much better leaders. Their teams will benefit, the organization will benefit, and the leader will benefit as well. So the long-term goal is to reach 1 million of these leaders and to help them to unpack this topic, leadership with a servant's heart.
Good luck to your goals, Master, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice, Mr. Kevin, for those people out there who want to be an author like you?
Well, if you want to be an author, I recommend really one thing, and that is, in order to finish, you have to start. And so, just about every person that you ask, as a matter of fact, the data shows that 92% of people say, yes, I would love to write a book, or I have a book in me. But that's the operative word, but I don't have time. I don't know how. And there's a number of other reasons. I won't use the word excuses, but reasons. But I just encourage anyone who wants to write a book, the best way to finish is just to get started. And so that's a mouthful, but there's so many writers' conferences that you can attend. In today's world, you can use your favorite search engine and just look it up that way, how to get started writing a book. And they'll give you a lot of different pieces of information and detailed data to help you get started.
Thank you for that advice, Mr. Kevin. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
I'm sorry, say again.
Can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So the late, great Pastor Miles Monroe, he was one of the founders of the Faith Bahamas Ministries International in Nassau, Bahamas. He wrote a book simply titled Understanding Your Potential. Very easy to read, paperback, about 115 pages, if that. I still have it in my library. I read it at a time in my life where I really needed it, and it's simply titled Understanding Your Potential. Dr. Miles Monroe. It really, really helped to get me on a trajectory of the work that I'm doing even today. And I read that book probably 3 decades ago, and I still remember it. So that was a, I wouldn't say a life changer, but it was a life shifter for me.
A life shifter indeed, and thank you so much for recommended that book, Mr. Kevin. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my Bible verses 101 in its first season too. Book 101 review in fifth season, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in its fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101, Love Letters in fourth season, and Movie 101 review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its second season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. And Mr. Kevin, tell us the if you're looking back over your journey, what has been the most surprising and rewarding gift you have received from choosing lead your family with a servant heart?
I would say just watching my three sons. They're all back to back to back. So when the oldest was 4, his brother was 3, and his brother was 2. So they've all been back to back to back. Just watching them grow and mature and become the young men that they have become. And I just did it from a father's heart in terms of how I would lead them and be there for them and give them some coaching and mentoring and train them along the way. So that I would say always brings me a smile.
Mr. Kevin Wayne Johnson, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your book, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yes, thank you so much. Leadership with a Servant's Heart. The books are available in print, audio, as well as ebook, and they're available everywhere that books are sold. We're up to book number 3 so far in the series. Please go out and get yourself a copy. They also make great gifts coming up for the holidays as well. Book clubs, you name it. So it's all about just really teaching the current and next generation of leaders strategies and principles that will be very, very helpful as we move into the future.
Yes, Mr. Kevin, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And yes, people, let's support Mr. Kevin Wayne Johnson, because if you support him, for sure more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Mr. Kevin, thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you.
Monica people, see you soon.